I'm curious as to why you think Frankenstories specifically might have helped with that, as opposed to, for instance, why wouldn't this just work on a sheet of paper? Just do a form and sense one, sense two, sense three. Um, why do you think Frankenstories might have made a particular difference?
The competition.
Competition, right? Yep.
They, as much as they want to do well, I'm
Mm,
not, I guess they don't want to impress me as much as they want to impress each other.
mm,
So when they are actually writing something in Frankenstories and it's competitive and they know that somebody else is going to see it in class, suddenly their game lifts, which is really interesting. Usually when we say, okay, share some work with somebody else, they're so resistant to it. But suddenly when it's a competition to see who's going to win each round,
mm,
they're open to sharing. They're open to having others see their information and then their writing lifts. With things like the five senses, absolutely, we would do that stuff in class. We say, okay, here's the scene, describe what you can see.
mm,
But it was something about having that timed thing. And it's probably a psychologist would be able to answer it better than
mm,
me, but something in their mind about seeing the countdown timer on the screen would really kick in for them. And they would then really go, okay, I need to write as much as I can see, as much as I can feel. And
mm,
it really worked better for that. And that was like the initial stages of using Frankenstories. The other thing that was really wonderful was the fact that I could then actually, because I will always have the option to have the teacher look at the answers before I open them up
mm,
for voting. So I would then go in that and I would give feedback as we went. And that meant rather than them writing a little bit, handing it in, me marking it, me giving it back to them, and then them doing the next stage, I would actually, based on the nature of the class, I would actually sort of yell out, hey, Fred, great
yeah.
use of this. Watch out for your capital letters. And
Mm,
then they could take that. It was really instant feedback and they could take it into the next round.
mm. When you said, a psychologist might have an opinion,
Mm.
I think for me, a lot of what Frank's story is about. I think there's multiple things working at once, but I think it's about compression of all of these things. Like sometimes I'll sort of use this metaphor, like it's a bit like the difference between being in a plane that's taxiing down a runway versus turning on the engine and actually lifting off. There's something about that compression, that speed, just everyone stuffed into this little virtual room together that somehow just intensifies the whole experience.
I think the other thing is the fact that it's in rounds as well,
Mm,
because we give them a sheet, and even with a sheet, like, and this is what I used to do, this sheet with the five senses, it'll have, picture of an eye, picture of a nose, things like
mm,
that. It's still a really long sheet that they
mm,
see. And I'm neurodivergent myself. And
mm,
I'm really aware that we have a lot of students now who are diagnosed with neurodivergence or other learning needs, and particularly when I'm teaching a literacy class. And they still see a sheet and they see an A4 sheet and, oh my gosh, I have to do all of that. Whereas it's Frankenstories, they don't see all the questions with the rounds. It really allows their brain to focus on that little bit at that time. And I think that is, particularly for people that are neurodivergent, so beneficial, but it's working for all of our students.